Hello, 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 everybody. I am live. AMA. Let's see. You should have a black screen. So first thing I want to check is sound. They got some annoying music playing here. Yeah, you see a black screen. So first of all, yeah, you have a black screen. Just show you why here. Should say hello to the people in the chat though. So in the chat, we've got some people. We've got Lex, Decrosis. Let's see here, Robin. Jonathan, Pip, Nautical Stew. Hello, everybody. So it does stop at the top of the hour, or starts at the top of the hour. So anyone who's watching after the fact, you might want to go ahead 10 minutes. Mostly I'm just trying to make sure I've never broadcast Discord before. So that's why I'm going early, make sure everything's going okay. There's Steve. So first thing I want to do is, can you hear this annoying music? If you're in the chat and you can hear this music, let me know. It means I have the audio going through. It's what I'm hoping for. RHPS, hello. Hey, John, welcome. You're early, yes, you can hear the music. All right, cool. We'll turn that off because it is insane. Okay, so what you see is actually, it is a black screen, but this is actually Discord. I have it stretched out so you get to see as much as possible. I'll show you what I'm actually, see if you see the edge here, there's the Discord, all the channels there. Up here we have all the people waiting. You can see Mr. Turtle up there. So I basically have it set up so you can see as much of the people as possible. So what this will be is, and I don't know which devs are gonna be doing this, but this will be some of the dev team. They did this before the Ghoul update. Annoyingly confirmed, yes. Hello, yes. So they did this last time before the Ghoul update, and what you'll see is a bunch of heads. They'll be all on webcams or whatever, and so you'll see a bunch of heads where the blackness is now. But I don't know what parts of the screen, whatever. So I'm like ready to adjust as needed, and the volume as well. Definitely. Bazookovich, hello. Desi, hello. Once this starts, and again, top of the hour, but once this starts and they start, okay, so I see John Rush. He just popped in. That's all the people that are watching. Once they start talking, if the volume isn't right, let me know. I can mess around with that as well. I have no idea. I have no way to know, how it's going to be until they start going. But yeah, last time they did this right before the Ghoul update. That's when they announced the 6 character slot. And of course, we never got that because they shouldn't have. They announced it prematurely. And my guess is it's supposed to be an Atomic Shop thing. Oh, okay. Okay. I need to adjust my screen. So I'm glad I did this early. They're popping in, but they're doing it. Let's see here.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Just a heads up, I do believe that everybody who is in our audience can also hear us because we don't have a behind the stage.
All right, there we go. Let's do this one. I don't know where they're going to populate in, so I'll adjust this as needed.
I can go ahead and turn my camera on here.
Yeah, let's go.
So how's it?
What?
Are you Grill Master?
Yes. I would think that you could verify that status for me, John.
So how's the volume? Can you hear them okay? There's John Rush right there in the middle.
Do a quick chat. Can you hear us? If you can hear us, type a chat. I believe that the answer is yes.
Type a chat. I don't see a thing typed, so there you go.
I wonder why. It feels like we should really, we're going to go to our Discord reps and be like, yo, can we get like a little mini stage for us to actually prep in? Hey, chat. I hope you all are doing well this Thursday.
There we go. All right, they're going a little early.
Angry Turtle.
Yes, we have Angry Turtle. Yeah, absolutely.
I see some icons that I recognize in here.
Let's bring Danielle in.
Hey, Jared, welcome. It's pretty quiet for you. Is it? Anyone else pretty quiet?
It wasn't dropping me in there.
I want to make sure before I turn it up that it's other people are having. You want to tick higher? All right, let's see. Desktop audio. Let's go up to.
Just to let everybody know that we'll start.
All right, Kevin. I'm going to kick off this AMA. Where are you?
All right, I just turned it up a bit.
That's part of the competition. You got to find me.
Is that
scavenger
too loud?
I left
too loud.
I left riddles throughout the office.
Hang on.
Okay. I'm not going to look.
Maybe right here.
Hey, Danielle.
Hello.
Yeah, I forget that when I adjust in OBS, it doesn't affect what I hear, so it's kind of difficult. So I'll turn it up.
Fish.
Till it goes almost into the red.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I heard that. Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
have someone who's
it's-
cut off
sadly, it's
over
not this
there.
desk.
Let's see about
It's
making
the desk
that
in the office. Otherwise,
That-
I actually would
a little
show
bit
it
here.
off.
Lost all that. When is it going to be this desk? Is what I want to know. At this desk.
Oh, as soon
Oh,
as
they're
you tell me
popping
who I
in.
should ship it to,
Oh.
should I just like direct it to you and let you all figure that
Let's
out?
see here. I think that's about right
And
there. Now you can see them
what
all
I
on
love
the
about
screen.
this is that Chad doesn't know what
Is that
we're
volume
talking
better?
about yet. So
Oh no, we're not talking about anything.
That's true.
we're not talking about anything. Maybe they'll figure out soon. Who really knows?
This will be an unusual
It'll be
stream
a
and then I won't be.
mystery.
It's better? Okay, cool. This will be an unusual stream and then it won't be me talking nonstop. In fact, I'm going to try and stay out of their way.
Alright, so we have about
Better? Okay, cool. Awesome.
4 minutes left
Awesome.
of the game.
Yeah, hopefully it's
So
not too
let's
much.
Actually,
Not too
I want to
loud.
know. We talked about this during our Goal Within AMA. What did you all have for lunch? Not lunch, breakfast. It's
Yeah, they're just
breakfast
nonstop. I'm not going to worry about it until they get into the actual questions.
time.
Protein powder.
Yeah,
I'm
they'll talk
still
about their food and whatever.
got to track my stats. Got to keep on my
But
diet.
they'll.
It's very boring.
John Rush.
I mix it
Okay.
in with my coffee, and it's like a poor man's mocha. So
That's smart, actually.
Not as loud as
Arc.
Arcmade music. Bethesda's Johnny.
And
Like,
then, John, did you also go big on the protein?
so
this
the way
morning?
this
I believe
works,
last
let's
time
see,
you
I got to
said
make
you
sure I'm
were
looking
eating
over
quail eggs or
to
something.
making sure what you see.
I
All those
moved way
icons on the
past
bottom.
protein
So
this
the
time, Richard.
icons
I went
below, let's see, right
amino
here.
acids.
I mean, you can see there's
straight
me
in.
right there. This is all the people that
Injected
are
straight
actually
in.
connected to this particular.
No more
it's called
middlemen.
a stage, I think.
Is it
like
Discord
a-
stage is what it's
Protein
called.
crap. Just give me the amino acids. That's all I want.
Was it
But
like
the questions have been
slow
submitted
drip,
already
or
by
you
people.
just
There's
kind of,
Gassy right there. I
rush it
see
all
him
in as
right here.
quickly as possible.
Quick as possible.
Okay. So something that I'm
But the-
definitely learning about the team is that
Music
we're
blows up
really
your ears.
focused
Oh,
on
from
our
Arc? I haven't
games
played Arc.
here. You have multiple people who focus, who count the grams of protein.
Watching all the
in every
people. Now
meal,
people
trying
are
to
really,
reach those-
really
those
popping in.
trying to min-max.
But the way it
things
works
pretty
is
much.
they've got
it
They
doesn't
have
help
a
when you have all these
scale.
apps that let you
Channels
do
that
all
have
that
been-
stuff
or
too, and
questions
you
that
can
have
stay
already
right on
been,
track. And you're like, oh, you're
submitted, so-
5% off, and you can't help but gamify it. So
They were submitted via Discord
true.
for the last
Everything
week
all
or
the
so,
Yeah.
weekish.
Kevin, tell the chat about your calves.
oh, you're gonna do that to me, John? Yes, like when you're trying to work out and show off in the gym, you would think that, oh, I can hit a really impressive bench press. No, not me. My calves are really strong. So it's the most weirdest flex ever. I can have really strong calves, but if I could switch it around, I could, but I can't.
Yeah. You hit those those calf races on that bear
Yeah,
machine,
I'm like-
and you just
like
like
to
watch
5 or
this.
10 for Arc.
Calf bros,
It's a little loud for me, actually.
Oh
Let's
man,
see
I
here.
do appreciate how kind of wholesome gym culture has become. It used to not be this way, like at all, but now we're seeing more and more people kind of
Turn it
hit
down
gyms,
for me a
and
little
we're
bit.
seeing
There we go.
different types of people go to the gym, bring way better energy into this space.
But
It
my
used to
my
be
plan for
kind of
this
like the
is once they
meathead,
start actually
dome
answering
head,
questions,
kind of
is I'll just probably
giant
stay out of the
like
way.
the milk gallon bottle of like water, and people just slaying.
But until then, let's see. We've got another. Should
Now
be
you get to
starting.
Kevin-
Couple of those people.
Like another minute
the
or
Kevins
so.
of the world with their coffee
First
can
jetpack on your
calves
Rusty Raider,
intimidating
nice. Or
everybody.
Trusty Raider, nice. There's a lot of people
All right, we got
filter. It's
about,
funny.
like,
people
30
pop
more
in. People
seconds,
pop.
so
Yeah.
I want to give people time to
30 more
to get in
seconds. All right,
before
there we
get
go.
Started.
30 more seconds.
So we talked about breakfast. We talked about protein. We talked about the gym culture and calves. And
I'm
all
hoping
that
they talk
stuff.
about the
what
update
are
in
we here
general
for
and
again?
not just the
Yeah,
fishing.
well, we're here for.
I'm hoping
for
there's
Gone
more to
Fission,
it than
but
that. I mean, I saw the
have
questions, and we'll see.
Um,
Ask me anything
8
doesn't mean they
seconds.
answer anything.
What are we looking forward to?
So
for our
that's
lunch?
always something to be aware of. Just because they say ask me anything doesn't mean they're going to give
Nothing.
you an
Yeah.
answer.
What?
So
We'll
see how that
us about
goes.
lunch again? Oh, you asked us
I asked about breakfast. Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead, John.
let me see. Some chicken
But yeah, I think I'm
Yeah.
giving
and
you a
some Brussels
complete
sprouts I made
view based
with
on
a
a yeah.
lemon
You should be seeing everything,
vinegar.
so which is good,
Excellent.
or everything that's important.
I'm convinced John is just a scavenger. I think he just scoops up whatever he can find and eats it. I've seen him in the yeah. I'm on a diet, so it's very very uninspired lunch waiting for me. But at least I get to eat something. So
All right, it
Okay.
is time. They should be starting.
Well, with that all out of the way, give me a few more seconds. Just doing a last bit of setup on my end to make sure.
I thought we were here to talk about fishing. What's going on here,
Oh,
Richard?
we absolutely are. Just give me 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 5, 6 seconds. All right, now we are ready to talk about Gone Fission. Welcome everybody to our second AMA since this series has started. Welcome to the Gone Fission AMA. My name is Richard Stanford. I'm your senior community manager for Fallout 76, and I'm joined by three amazing people. But let's keep it on the community side. Danielle, can you introduce yourself?
Sure can. Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle, also known as Violet Light in Discord. Hello.
Okay.
And then we are also joined by two amazing dev team members. John, could you do a quick introduction?
Yeah, I'm John Rush. I'm the creative director on Fallout 76.
And last but certainly not least, Kevin, Grill Master.
yeah. I'm Kevin Winicky, and I'm a senior system designer on 76.
Kevin, you were a principal dev here on the fishing update, right?
That's right. Yes.
So we got the perfect person to come in and start answering all of these questions that we have from our community. And let's jump right into this the second that I find my document here. I kind of want to start things off with a bit of light questions here. So one thing that I actually saw from the community last year during Fallout Day, when John, you had that awesome fishing hint tease in our Fallout Day broadcast, is there's been a kind of like a fair amount of discussion and just people mentioning that like fishing is a classic RPG game like feature, right? When we go back, we think about some of our favorite RPG games, the games that allow us to kind of spend time within the worlds. They almost eventually always get to fishing, if not start there. So why did we decide that now was like the time to bring fishing into Fallout 76?
So, looking at our players, we have our builders, we have our adventurers, but we all love to explore, right? We all love to explore Appalachia. So taking something as fun, like fishing, and saying, hey, anywhere you can swim, you can fish. When I look at the map and I see all these bodies of water, that makes me want to explore Appalachia all over again. My mind's already racing. What kind of fish am I going to catch in the wasteland? So the reasoning for adding it in was just to give players another way to engage with what I feel is the main character of Fallout 76, and that is our Appalachia.
Yeah. And Kevin, from your personal perspective too, like Fallout 76 has been around for years now, and then you get wind that we're working on fishing for a future update. Like, what are your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts were, I love fishing personally. I did it as a kid all the time, camping with my family, and so that's fun. And I saw a post that said we're officially classified as an MMO now because we have fishing. So we've been embraced. So it's almost an expectation. But what John was saying is totally true. Fishing is really fun because it allows you to re-engage with the world. And even if you're very familiar with the world, it's kind of interesting. Once you have fishing, you're going to go start looking for spots that you may not remember right off the top of your head. Like when you're tromping around in the forest, everybody can picture, oh, I know where some water is in the forest. But it's not so easy to find water in other spots like the Savage Divide, Toxic Valley. Like, sure, you can kind of fish in certain spots, but sometimes there's enemies nearby. So it's actually, there's a whole bunch of really fun hidden surprises waiting for people that go try to find the perfect fishing spot. And, a lot of mayhem can still ensue. Like we were doing some internal tests, and I don't know if we'll get to this later or not, but while trying to test fishing, I was like training a bunch of enemies, and they were all trying to attack me. I'm just trying to fish here, and like they were like all kinds of stuff. They started attacking each other, and I'm like, this is Fallout, right? This is fun.
the kind of chaos and mayhem of
Yeah.
Appalachia still
I'm
exists,
just trying
even
to fish,
though
and there's a war going on, So yeah.
that actually kind of leads me to the next question before I pass it over to Danielle to start us off with our first fishing question from the community. What are each of you looking forward to players experiencing when the Gone Fission drops in just a few days now?
I'm looking forward to somebody pulling up to a popular fishing spot, casting their line, and looking over and seeing some of their fellow players hauling big fish out of the water.
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to be fun and really kind of help evolve our sense of community in the game. Give them something else to talk about and show off.
Yeah, I like the thought of people searching out new fishing holes, maybe even putting their camp down to make like a camping, or I mean like a fishing camp, like right where their spot is, and that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, I know that I am really excited to see who claims which fishing holes, and then I kind of hope to see people start to get in their own heads about which fishing spot's like the best spot, because a lot of people seem to have gotten really lucky here, and then the old fisherman's kind of like tale of oh, like this is my spot because I've caught this one fish here and I've been able to catch it like more times. So it'll be cool to see how all of this expands once the game gets out and once the update gets out into people's hands. But Danielle, why don't you kick us off with our first question?
Absolutely. Let me just look at the doc here. Okay. This first question is from Shamidi. Sorry if I butcher your names. This is for Kevin. Will you add new fish and other creatures like the axolotl to fishing in future updates? Would love to see fishing be a system that's continually updated throughout 76's lifespan.
Yes, we are going to be adding new fish as the game progresses and everything. We have different stuff that we're adding. Some of the things I can't talk about just yet, but we put a lot of thought and effort into making fish that spawn in certain spots, and then fish that spawn in like certain conditions. So like maybe that are better in weather, or maybe at a certain time of the month with the the axolotls. We wanted to make sure that our first release has those components, so that if we make certain modifications on that later on, everybody kind of already understands. So not saying we do this, but if we wanted to say, here is a Christmas Eve fish, like I think people would kind of get this and pick up on it a little bit more. So we definitely have plans to release new fish, and as the game progresses, and maybe under certain more restrictive conditions that players have to discover.
That's awesome. I personally would like to see a fish with a Santa hat. So just setting that out there.
Putting that energy out there to see
Yes.
if it lands. And
I'm writing this down. These are great.
To add to that, I'm going to say more fish, yes, even as soon as before the end of the year.
Oh.
Okay. Nice. Love that. So the next question is from Crowfather. And yes, as Danielle said, apologies in advance if we butcher any of your names. Some of you have really simple names and we'll still butcher them just because that's just how life works. But some of you also have more interesting names that we'll butcher. So this one, though, Crowfather says that they have a simple question. Will we be able to fish in expeditions someday? Maybe expansions? Perhaps even brand new maps outside of West Virginia if those ever become a reality. So this one I have for both Kevin and John. And Kevin, I believe you did kind of answer this one with, yes, we will be expanding the fishing feature as more updates come out.
Yeah, exactly where that is, and expeditions in particular. Right now, we are not looking into expeditions, but that's never say never. It's a potential, maybe, but right now the focus is on Appalachia, because you get that map, right? I can open up a map and I can see where to go. I can see things, and that's not really apparent in the expeditions. So our first focus was on fleshing out Appalachia with all different types of fish.
I mean, for what it's worth, like fish that you pull out of the pit, you're not going to want to eat those anyways. So, we'd rather people, when they get into expeditions, to stay focused on the mission at hand, and not get distracted with fishing. But
Makes
like
sense.
Kevin said, you never know. Maybe.
Yeah. Next one, Danielle.
Okay, let's see. This one is from the Modus Files podcast, and this is for Kevin. Can we get a list of what weather machines will improve our fishing results?
We I guess we could. Well, I don't know how we release a list. We could probably do that through the the Discord. But there is
Yeah.
certain ones that do so. The weather machines that make rain will bring out certain rare fish, and the ones and snow, yes, qualifies as rain. It's precipitation, right?
That's one.
And yes, and there is also a recent one, I believe. It was Seasons, I think, that released it with the nuke weather one that also qualifies, and the Radstorm one that also qualifies. But also keep in mind all of the other ones that they may not specifically do something on their own, but if for whatever reason you're in a rad storm, like natural weather, and you put your camp down and you put like another weather down that's not radstorm, it actually overrides it as your camp. So for whatever reason, if you don't want radstorm effects on your fishing results, put some other camp weather down and it'll override that. So basically we did make the decision that says, your camp weather is the first priority in determining what the fishing results are.
Yeah.
That is good to know because
all those different weathers you can also access in the core game as well without weather machines.
Correct.
yeah, that's definitely good to know. I know I have seen people wondering if the weather features stack. So if your camp one does override anything else, that's
Yes.
very helpful.
I'd also like to add that you get the benefit, like if you don't own those, as you can go into other people's camps that have those weathers active and you receive the benefits from them. So it's kind of fun to discover, again, that tie-in with, hey, I'm going to make a fishing camp with my fishing weather, and it actually benefits anyone that comes in and starts fishing there.
Yeah, and I remember early when we were preparing the notes for PTS, Kevin, when we were talking about kind of weather stations and how they interact with fishing. It's all about kind of like the weather station just kind of changing the chance of you catching like a different type of fish that you wouldn't really be able to catch otherwise, right?
Well, yes. It should not enable or disable any fish, the weather,
Okay.
but it enhances certain classifications of
yes.
fish. So yes. But yeah. So like across the board, you would get like the uncommon regional fish would be better in rain. Glowing fish, for example, are better in the nuke weather or the radstorm weather, as one would expect, right? So it
Yeah.
does improve those odds.
Yeah, so people should think about it as, oh, I'm putting this down to enhance the chance that I catch a very specific type of fish.
Right.
Awesome. Next question is from Hillgilly. Will we be able to keep fish we catch and display them in a fishbowl?
Not specifically in a fish bowl, but we have several fish displays. Some of them are a little more gruesome and Fallout-esque than others, but some of them are quite nice. There are several fish displays that you get to display your catches in your camp. Yes.
Yeah,
And additional ways being talked about for after initial release too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll save all the to be determined stuff for you, John. I don't want to steal your thunder.
That's actually a smart tactic, Kevin. Like, it's like you
I'll
could
let
say,
John
but
get in trouble.
Exactly.
We've got some really cool ways to display your fish coming
Yes.
up.
Yeah, can't wait.
Thanks for this feature.
Mm-hmm. Danielle, do you want to take a sip of the next one?
Yep. This next question is for Kevin from, oh gosh, Gendarm Zero. How will we be able to obtain more of the superb baits? Is it by doing daily quests, challenges, or gold bullion?
Yeah. So the superb bait right now is only available through seasons. So there will be a couple of spots throughout the seasons pages, and then on the final page, the repeatable page, you can have an option there to get more superb bait. We're happy with that balance right now, and we're going to watch it. It might expand to other areas in the future, but for now, it's going to be through the season stuff.
Yeah, and for anybody who might not know, let's talk about the 3 different types of bait right now. So there's the uncommon bait, which is kind of like the bait that you'll be able to get from the vendors.
Yes, that's the common bait.
Yeah, that's the most common bait. And then there's
Right.
improved bait, which
Correct.
I believe enhances your odds a little of catching kind of the more rare fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's obtainable through dailies, challenges, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, so the improved bait, like you said, it does improve your chances of catching more rare fish, right? And it also eliminates like junk results. So like in the common, if you're fishing with common bait, there's a small chance to just get a junk result, which you can scrap and that kind of stuff. And so improved bait eliminates that. And so it improves your odds of catching a little bit more rare fish. And that can be found. We have a fishing daily. You can get some guaranteed there. It is possible to also find them in the little coolers and old war refrigerators that are found throughout Appalachia. So there's a small chance of getting it there, and then all of the public events also drop the fishing bait, improved fishing bait as well. So you can sell it as well in your player vendor, and so you can get it from other players. So if you start farming this stuff and get a whole bunch, you can put some up and make some caps in your vendor.
Yeah, and then the superb bait, the seasonal bait. That's what the fish are really looking for, pretty much.
Right. And so like we dropped a couple of the poorer results out from, going from common to improved. When we go to improve to superb bait, we drop out some as well. So it really focuses on the high end. So you can guess that, or you can expect that once you try to fish with a superb bait, you're probably going to catch a rare fish. But I should note, and a lot of people, discover this on the PTS, that if you just use superb bait right out of the gate, you haven't even started, you barely just finished your introductory main quest on fishing, you may not be able to catch those fish that you hook because they're going to be really strong, and you're going to need to level up and get better rod upgrades and everything like that. So fair warning, if you want a challenge, use superb bait right off the bat. Good luck.
Yeah. Danielle and I are definitely going to put out some warnings to people. It's like, hey, make sure, I know we're all excited. Make sure you go back and you do those fishing challenges to get to upgrade and get new mods for your fishing rod. Because if you catch a super rare fish right off the bat, that thing's going to fly off the hook so quickly.
You're not going to stand a chance.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. The next question is from Amazing Bacon Lord. Will there be a logbook or something for us to keep track of fishes caught or biggest fish caught? And this is for you, Kevin.
Not at this time. That is a really good idea, though. We have had discussions on such a feature, but as of right now, it's not on the roadmap. But it is something that you can market as we'd like to do.
Yeah. Awesome. And Danielle, do you want to take us through our last one for fishing?
Yes. Sorry, I was answering a question in chat. This one is from Kaiser Omen. For Kevin, will fish spoil or will they be like the flowers from the Big Bloom?
Fish flowers.
That's
no, they don't. They don't. Yeah. Interesting way to. No, they don't spoil. Right now, they used to spoil, and we were testing. We initially released a PTS that they could spoil, but we found some issues with that, and basically, we don't want them spoiling, even if you like displayed them and stuff like that. So right now, fish do not spoil. They are. They can be eaten, and so it's a little bit of an exclusionary rule break, but fish don't spoil. However, if you do create them into fish bits, like if you break them up into fish bits, those do in fact spoil. So just there's a heads up on there. But no, the ones that you catch that are in your inventory and are in your camp and displays, they don't spoil.
I'm now imagining a nightmarish scenario when you walk into somebody's camp and it's just a bunch of rotten fish hanging up in their camp.
Why are you displaying that?
I don't like. Maybe they just forgot. I don't know, or maybe it's like Halloween time, and they're like, "Oh, I want to create some terrifying scenario for people to like walk in." Because we've seen some amazing camps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's for the future.
Yeah.
Speaking of future, and this question is for both Kevin and you too, John. Let's talk a little bit about the kind of like the future of fishing. We've already said that like fishing is a feature that we plan on expanding on as the game progresses, as content comes to the game. People should expect to see fishing kind of go along with it all. But Sunkiss says, "Hello, dev team. Regarding the upcoming updates, could you please share the team's thoughts on including aquatic plants that players can obtain, such as water lilies, pickerel weed, algae, etc.? They think that it'll be a fun way to have new food or new tea for players who play as herbivores. And if this idea hasn't yet been considered, it might be worthwhile to include this in conversations about future enhancements to the game." And they say thank you for your ongoing efforts to explore new ideas and incorporate player feedback. So thank you guys.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to give us the feedback. We love our community and all the great input and feedback we get from you all. Yeah, so those are great ideas. Those are ideas that we have discussed. We're always on the lookout to add more variety, more options for our players into the game. So be on the lookout. Those might be coming.
For sure.
Yeah, we did discuss about the idea that, hey, it just so happens that a lot of all the fish is really carnivore focused. And I really tried to think, I was like, what kind of mental gymnastics does it take to say, like, are fish really meat? And yes, they are. Of course they are. So like, but we've had discussions about supporting more herbivore focused stuff through fishing as well. So I definitely think that is a possibility for the future.
Awesome. This next question that Daniel's going to cover also kind of ties into the journal question too, but I kind of want to give space to make sure that we call out the people who have asked questions and the questions that have received the most upvotes. So we added it here.
Yeah, so this one is from Holshai D. Let's see. So fish weight and length added and fish journal to keep track of new records, fish caught, etc. Could we see this added, please? This would make the fishing seem more unique. Fish with its length and weight added in text with a fish records journal to keep track of everything. And so the fish don't need to visually change in size. Yeah, it was a bit of a complicated question, but basically they want to see ways that they can track their fish to get the weight and the length and just have a cool journal that they can keep track of everything.
Yeah, I think that's great, and especially being able to show that off to other fisher folk, so they can, you can kind of have your own fishing tales to tell, I suppose. Yeah, that's fun.
Absolutely. So this next question is about the cannery, and we received two questions. One from Sarah, disliked that, and the other question is from Mulebot. So the first question is from Mulebot. I would love to learn more about the cannery. What all can you can, and is there any additional cost to this other than a can? And will the food buffs be identical to fresh versions? So I actually chatted with the team who worked on the cannery, I believe, yesterday to kind of make sure that we had the most up-to-date answers for this. So we will share, Danielle and I will share a list of the food that you can in a cannery right here in the Discord once we're done with this AMA. So be on the lookout for that. They said that there's no additional costs outside of the additional can. So the recipe cost remains the same plus a can. And then the food buff is also identical. So you all know what to expect with the canned versions of the recipes that we'll share in the Discord later today. And then to answer Sarah disliked that question in regards to canning, is there going to be adjustments to the final weight 6 to 7 pounds seems to be a lot despite the usage of a single can. The team said that there's no adjustment to the final weights because there is the possibility to offset the weight cost with perks and backpack mods, specifically through Hiker would reduce the weight of the can by about 90%. So thank you both to Mulebot and to Sarah Dislike that for those questions. I saw that they were highly upvoted, so we wanted to make sure that we got those answers to you both. John, Kevin, any additions you would like to make to that?
Not really. I mean, we're gonna be looking at the list of foods that supports and adding to that down the road. So, but no, I think most of what you said covers it, Richard.
Yeah. And one thing I did leave out is that, of course, the team is open. It's a recurring theme that you'll hear to a day. The team is open to adding more food recipes to the cannery. So as updates come and as we progress through it. So the list that we'll share is probably won't be the same list that you see a year from now. So then we'll move on to the next one, the fisherman. Questions about the fisherman. People are really enamored by this fisherman creature who appeared during the PTS. Danielle, do you want to start us off?
Absolutely. So this one is from Lux Nuclear Fishing. With this new update, Appalachia will be seeing a new type of humanoid mutant in the fisherman, who is seemingly a sort of Mirelurk king with, say, I don't know what that word is. With some psionic psionic capabilities. Would it be possible for a set of apparel to be added that allows players to become a similar Mirelurk mutant? It'd be a nice cosmetic option to let us pretend we're also a strange, upright standing Mirelurk, even if it's just a very convincing mask.
That'd be fun. I think that's a fun idea for like a Halloween costume or something. So yeah, that's definitely worth considering. I think that's I'd wear it. Would you wear that, Kevin? Kevin wear it.
Only if it included the psionic powers. I'll have to look into that.
Oh.
I don't know what kind of shenanigans I could get into with that, but you know. That sounds fun.
It does.
It would be really fun for role playing. So I think that would be cool
Yes.
for the community.
Forcing other people to do things is always a great
Yeah.
role playing moment.
It's great.
I'm sure people would love also just having some sort of control taken from them as they're just trying to fish, and then suddenly
Absolutely.
now they're jumping and running in a place.
True enjoyment in a social game always comes at the expense of others. So yeah.
So this next question is from Flackles. I'll start out by saying that I really, really love the visual design of the fisherman in his unique raincoat, waters, get up. Part of me is curious about their plans, again, to allow players to wear this, so you know that people really, really love the design of the fisherman, because we've received multiple questions. So are there any plans to allow players to wear a slightly more intact version of his outfit? We can see the Pip-Boy in the latest season art sporting it. I think he's picturing Folk Boy. And it'll be really, really nice to have such a grounded, cool-looking outfit to wear when we're out casting our lines. So just to reiterate, this is a duplicate question, but we wanted to make sure that we called out Flackles because Flackles also received a lot of upvotes from the community. And as Sean said, you know, it's a fun idea. So who knows?
Maybe we could even have that outfit give like a fishing bonus. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, we could do that.
Or no, we'll see.
Yeah.
Just teasing people.
Just get me the Jiro, John. We'll do it.
Yeah. Getting it in right now. No, that sounds like a great idea. I think that's a fun outfit. I know players would love it, and that's the most important thing. So another great idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we'll move into lore questions and Danielle. I'm actually going to take this one because there's a lot going on here. And I had to like read once again, just to make sure I kind of combine the two. So we're moving into lore. These two questions are from Ravenwolf and Theo. And they kind of revolve around the theme of kind of what players are seeing with the fishermen and kind of like things that they suspect to be groundwork for future content coming out. So, John, I'm going to rely on you for this one to kind of help us navigate through these troubled waters. So,
Ooh,
Ravenwolf is pretty much, yeah, did you like that?
that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
So, Ravenwolf, I believe, starts with since at least Skyline Valley, and even before then, a lot of things added to 76 have made rather noticeable references to the Capital Wasteland. In the most recent, the story of the captain and his fishy companion seems to imply that they're from the Capital Wasteland, with the fishermen's look even looking similar to the Fallout 3 style Mirela Kings and Lake Lurks. Is the plan to add more creations from Fallout 3 and New Vegas within Fallout and potentially to expand towards the Capital Wasteland moving forward?
Possibly. I think one distinct advantage that Fallout 76 has over the other Fallouts, even the show, is that we take place the furthest back in history, right? So we've got kind of a lot of room to play with creatively, whether that's introducing new things that maybe were lost in time in the other Fallouts, or maybe prefacing things that we've seen in subsequent Fallouts. So, Capital Wasteland being such a popular setting for a lot of our storytelling, and being relatively close to where Fallout 76 takes place on the map. I mean, there's always that possibility. Whether that happens or not, I'm not going to say for sure, but there is always that possibility. But in the meantime, I do like those kind of loose ties to those other pieces of content, like even like looking back, using another example, looking back in Gleaming Depths, right, and seeing the trio, the power armor trio. I mean, the
Mhm.
power armor kind of looks like somebody else from another Fallout. Perhaps those were prototypes, perhaps, I don't know, but that's the beauty of the timeline where 76 takes place. We have room to play with those kinds of things. So I love those thoughts, and we'll see where the game goes.
Awesome. I have even more thoughts for you. So I believe that this one is from Theo Wolf, and I apologize to both Ravenwolf and Theo if I actually have them flipped. So this next bit is the new update adds ties between the entity known as the Interloper and the Lucky Hole Mine, and according to the note at Fisherman's Rest, the obelisk tied to the eldritch god known as Quatoth from Fallout 3 and reference in Fallout 4 in 76, most recently in Atlantic City.
I applaud
With the
your
note,
pronunciation, Richard. That was fantastic.
did I nail it?
Yeah, I pretty much. I think so.
Okay, good. Because I went to YouTube to quickly learn up on this lore and learn how to pronounce it. So, most recently in Atlantic City with a note referencing the Dunwich family. With the inclusion of elements of us gathering fish to feed the interloper and the newfound ties between the interloper and Kototh, my question is, are these plot points building up to a potential return to the Capital Wasteland, kind of like the previous question, or encounter with the god or its representatives, or is it more background lore that may or may not be brought back again in a future update in the years ahead?
Good question. I think a lot of what makes that story element so powerful is this isn't an answer for whether there's gonna be or not gonna be
Yes.
stuff down the
Yeah.
road. But I
Right.
think something that makes that so powerful is how little is said, right? There's so much mystery surrounding that. I think that's what makes it really intriguing. Kind of like our mole miners, right? It's like, yeah, we kind of have a general impression of what's happening there, but there's not really too much detail, not too much exposition, but it's enough to kind of keep them the idea of them very kind of tantalizing and fun to think about. So, you know, like I said before, we love finding like little parallels that we can touch other elements from other games without breaking lore. So, something like that, maybe some kind of tie-in with some of our cultists, I think could be fun. Whether that's being discussed now or not, I'm not going to say here, but
Who knows?
but those are the kinds of things that we love to kind of poke at.
Yeah, I think that that's a great answer because I do know that Fallout lore is important to so many people, and we do a lot of fun small tie-ins. Like I've always, whenever you pull me to the aside, like for the fisherman, you would kind of give me the details about the fisherman and where he came from, or all of his mysteries. You could tell that you all think a lot about how this plays into the wider universe. So that was a great answer, John.
You like that?
I did like
Can you
that.
hear me better now? I moved my mic. It looked like people might have been having trouble hearing me. Is that better
Mm,
for the
let's
folks at
see,
home?
chat.
Chat?
Is
Yeah,
John's mic better?
it's good.
We're
We're
good.
good. Okay.
We love that. Perfect. Thank you. All right, Danielle, I stole 2 questions. Can
So
you
rude.
kick us? Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Let me figure out where we are at.
We're lore questions, and the next one is from Flackles.
Okay, there we go. I got it. Okay, so this is from Flackles. In the latest fishing update, we got to meet the mysterious fisherman, his unwilling assistant Captain Raymond, and his partner slash mobile home Linda Lee. My question is, what exactly is the fisherman? Many people have speculated on what he could be. Is he some kind of sapient Mirelurk king, implying that he's an animal that's somehow achieved human level intelligence, or is he a severely mutated human being that's lost his ability to speak somewhere along the way? Perhaps he's just a wasteland wacko in a very convincing looking fish suit. Inquiring minds would like to know. I
Well,
would too.
I am a member of the inquiring minds that want to know. But like my previous answer, again, that's where all the fun lies, and in getting those questions and thinking about those questions is just having those in your head. Whereas if it was all just exposition, and this is exactly where it comes from, and this was its date of birth, and this is its genetic makeup, it takes all the mystery out of it, right? And so perhaps down the road with more fishing updates, more of their story will unfold, or perhaps not. I mean, that's kind of part of the fun of it. Those are great questions. I love how you're thinking, but I don't want to do the character or the story a disservice by trying to lay out the exact details of who that being is and what they're doing.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Stay
have my
tuned.
own thoughts as well, but I don't know if
Oh,
they're
do you?
right. Oh yeah, I mean I don't know who is the true master. Who's the puppeteer and who's the puppet? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Open
it's
question.
Linda Lee.
Maybe
Yeah, I kind of took offense
Lyndon Lee
to
needs
the.
to eat.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. I kind of took slight offense, not a lot of offense to Linda Lee being considered a mobile home. I know, like, technically that's kind of true, but Linda Lee's so much more than that. It just so happens that her shell is the abode. So, moving on to future content, just kind of like in general now. Um, when did we run that poll, Danielle? The Relax Build Rules poll.
About a
Time,
month ago, I
it feels
think.
like it was about
Yeah.
a month ago. Yeah, maybe like end of April. Right here in the Discord, we ran a poll about if people were interested in Relax Build Rules, and the answer was hell yes, probably, like absolutely. Excuse my language. Yes, there was like 90% of you all were in favor of it. So this next question is focused around that from Mr. Napoleon One. In the Discord, there was a poll about bringing relax build rule restrictions to adventure mode, and last time I checked, it was a resounding 98% in favor of it. All of us dwellers would like to get an update on most requested features like search function on the build menu, or reorganized build menu, double-sided walls for interior that you can wallpaper both sides, vertical half walls, wallpaper ceilings, budget cost balancing, etc. The Dwellers of Appalachia would like an update on the future of camp building. So I'm looking at you, John.
Do people in our game like building camps? Is that like a thing?
I think so. It might even be a core pillar of the game.
Do the folks here like building camps and workshops and stuff? Is that yeah? Or well,
Yeah.
good news. Good news for you all. We've got some huge changes, improvements, upgrades coming to camp building across the board very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for news on that.
Yes, there's been a lot of discussions about camp building recently. Between us and the dev team, Danielle and I have even chatted with some members of the community about some fun things coming up too. So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about really, really soon.
I love camp building just as much as you all. I might not be as good as you all, but I do love it. And so I want these changes in there too. So I'm really excited for you all to learn about these. Like I said, stay tuned. It should be soon.
Yes. All right, Danielle, do you want to take us to the next question?
Yes. So this one is from Black Ice. This one's also for John. So with the Fisherman update, I feel like some of the game's older features are falling behind as the rest of the world continues to grow. Will we see any new songs for Appalachia Radio, or at least new dialogue to reflect the world's evolving changes or events?
Great questions. So something that we're being very cognizant of as we make new features or develop new features is how these features are related to one another, right? So a more recent example would be, right, legendary crafting coming out and then 4-star legendaries being introduced and a way to get those through raids, right? All kind of intertwined. And so as we're coming out with these new features like fishing and things we have planned for down the road, we are keeping eyes on how to expand existing features, improve existing features. You just heard me very loosely talk about camp building as an example of that. So the answer to your question is yes. We are looking for ways to come back to all these old features, older systems, upgrade them, make sure they all have ties to one another, so it's a nice cohesive experience for people coming into the game. Something as specific as new songs for the radio, and we talk about that as well. There's a lot of other discussions involved in that too, such as licensing and whatnot, but it's not an impossibility. That it's certainly something that could happen. So yeah, I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate you taking the time to send those questions our way. It's all stuff we're thinking on.
Absolutely. And then this next question is from FMK. I really enjoyed testing Fickle and fishing updates in PTS, but I think we're a bit overdue for new content in some core activities, especially public events and new bosses. Can you share any insights or hints about what shape or form future updates after fishing might take in those areas?
No. But
Good question.
like my very vague answer for camp building, there are big plans for public events and events alike, and more than that. So we've got our eyes towards our builders, and we've got our eyes towards our adventurers, and we're making very large steps in improving and expanding on those experiences across the board. So yeah, short answer, no details, but very vague. Absolutely. We are working on that right now.
Yes, absolutely. Then Danielle, do you want to take us into our last question for future content?
Our last question. So this is somewhat related. Are there any plans to release a new boss related to fishing?
Kevin.
I mean, my personal plans or officially approved plans?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
I
Maybe?
think that's an awesome idea, and it's something we have to look at, officially. But yeah, I mean, I've fished in other games, and they usually spawn some kind of boss. So maybe I'd love to see it. I've certainly got some thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm running by it, John.
Fish up like a scuba diver.
Oh,
Stick a diver on the end of the hook.
yeah. A little
Yeah.
dangerous scuba diver.
There you go.
All right. So that actually puts us through all of our questions that we pulled. But I do want to take one more look at the channel that we had set up, because I do know that people have gone through the channel and kind of given more upvotes to questions since we closed it on Wednesday. So while I do this, let me think. What's a fun little question I can have you two talk about? Actually, I would love to hear, and I'm sure that the community would love to hear too. And this, I'm pitching them both completely off guard here with this check, because we did not talk about me asking a random question about their experience with building fishing in the early stages before we went to a PTS. But do you two have any fun stories about kind of like what that was like testing the fishing feature before we went to PTS, in the early days of you maybe kind of like scoping things out, or kind of getting in there the first time and trying it out to see how it feels?
Yeah, I got a pretty funny story actually. We were play testing, and we were play testing the daily fishing quest, and it randomly selected me to go to Cranberry Bog. So off I go, and I just made a quick character in debug to do this. So it's not like this character was like combat ready or anything like that. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go test inside the Cranberry Bog, and I went to that like quarry area, and another person was already fishing there, actually the lead designer. And I'm like, hey, I'm here, I'm fishing. Where's the fishing? And like a Mirelurk queen like showed up while like a Scorch beast was like flying overhead, and like turned it into Scorched, and like it's just annihilating us while I'm just trying to fish. And so I'm like, it's funny how all those systems can converge and just create really crazy things. And I'm like, I'm just trying to test my daily here. What's going on? Yeah, it's funny.
And John?
hmm Well, my story I don't think is as cool as Kevin's, but I thought it was
No.
pretty clever. When we were playtesting fishing, I was trying to make somebody else fishing really mad, and so where their bobber was in the water, I had put my character there and was jumping up and down so they couldn't see their bobber and when to pull on it. That's just a bit, but that's my story.
Okay, so I do have a few, none that I think we need to fully answer, because they're kind of related still to questions that we've already answered, but I see that they've received a lot of upvotes, so I want to call them out and just to make sure that they know that we saw it and we have answered. So Metalord 76 was asking about more fish recipes and more canned recipes, which we've answered earlier in this. More fishing content absolutely coming through future updates, and then the team is open to adding more canned recipes for the cannery moving forward. The other one that we don't have a concrete answer for just yet, but again, there's a lot of updates about a lot of upvotes on this question about Milepost Zero. The team is still working on kind of getting new information for you all, so please stay tuned for future information about Milepost Zero. Linda Lee loot pool. Are there any plans to add 4 stars to the loot pool for Linda Lee?
Well, we kind of like keeping our 4-star experience relegated to raids for the time being. It's sort of an in-game kind of heroic experience where you can upgrade your gear. Having that come to Linda Lee, likely not. I mean, nothing's impossible though. I think there are ways to. I think there are other things we could give Linda Lee that could be just as alluring as 4 stars, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Death Killer, any hints on other balance changes coming to the game? I said this on Reddit, and I don't think that I said it on the Discord, but the patch notes for Gone Fission will include a update for you all about kind of like where we are in the combat rebalancing journey that we kicked off last year, almost exactly a year ago in Skyline Valley. So stay tuned for the patch notes for Gone Fission for a quick update there. Let's see. Any last things? Kind of talked about displaying fish. We talked about what's coming to the game after fishing, and then kind of like what the team is looking at. Talked about Capital Wasteland. Talked about weather machines. We talked about the lore. I think we covered a lot, if not all, of the most upvoted questions here in our fishing dev questions poll.
I've got a
So,
question.
oh yeah,
Yeah. For the both of you, what is your favorite fish?
I like the blood whisker. I think he's a cool looking fish. He's a
That's a good one.
catfish, you know, and I also like the ridge trout. What's a trout doing in Appalachia? No, it's part of the mystery. You know.
I like the blood whisker too. I think I like the axolotls the best though.
Yeah,
Those
they're cute.
axolotls. Count
Axolotls
those
are my
fish?
favorite.
What's that?
Are those technically fish?
In our game, it is.
Yeah.
that's a
Okay.
great answer. I like it.
We make the
I don't
rules.
know, the biologists in the chat are like, "Oh, this is my moment."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aries says amphibian, so close enough.
Yes. I have actually caught salamanders on my fishing pole before, so
Really?
whatever bites your hook.
Yeah, whatever
Oh,
bites
yeah.
your hook, it's a fish.
I caught a turtle once. It was so pissed.
I
Poor
imagine.
turtle. Yeah. Anyways.
I used to live in Florida, and when we would go fishing, just like on the lake in our backyard, I was always concerned about catching like an alligator or something, because the alligators would show up in our yards and just kind of sunbathe all the time. Luckily, never caught one, and luckily never had any issues with alligators kind of creeping into our yard while our dog was outside. But there's a lot of things to catch in the waters of Appalachia, so a lot of you will figure out the entire list pretty soon. Awesome. Well, we will be ending a little bit early, so I want to give a huge thank you to John, Kevin, and Danielle, of course, my partner here in on the community side, for joining us, and a huge thank you to everybody here in chat who showed up. We love doing these things for you. We love showing up and talking to you in this Discord server. So like I said last time, these AMAs are kind of just like a wave that we wanted to kind of give back to you all and hang out with you all. As most things go, let us know how you feel about this format. You can drop it here in the Gone Fission AMA chat, and Danielle and I will go through it all and make adjustments where we need to. So, John, Kevin, any last words before we break?
Thank you to everybody for giving us some of your time today. I mean, we love talking about this game. We love 76. It wouldn't be where it was without the support of our wonderful community. So thank you very much for everything that you do.
Kevin?
Likewise, I couldn't say it better myself. Thanks for all the feedback, especially on the PTS when we're developing features. It helps us meet your expectations even better. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, all right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch you later.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, gang.
All right, let's mute that again. Get that down to, where did I have that set? I gotta make sure I get this set now, otherwise I'll forget. If I ever need to do desktop audio again, there's that. And yeah, Gone Fission. Currently no one is speaking, so we don't really need that anymore. So it's just me. All right. Enough of this shouting in the enough of the shouting. How about that? Enough shouting in my chat. I don't really need that. Okay, let's shrink this down. Hey, you're most welcome. It was it was just the so this was the fishing. I mean, it was mainly fishing. This was like the Q&A, the dev Q&A for next week for the next update. Mostly it was fishing questions for the most part. So if you're curious about fishing, they answer a lot of fishing questions. If you're not curious about that, they didn't really talk much about other things. So yes. Thank you, Rizal. This was tough. I will tell you, this is tough. Like, my natural tendency is to, if you watch my streams, you know, my tendency is to talk pretty much nonstop. And so to have, let's see, I'll move this in yeah, I guess that's right. That's a good spot. Yeah, so that's my tendency, is just to talk nonstop. And so to sit here and not talk is very difficult. And also when they're talking, my tendency is to like scroll through Discord and whatever, which I obviously can't do since I'm showing you my Discord. So yeah, I can't really do that. Did they confirm mod changes? What do you mean, Torn Aside, in terms of, or Tornicate? What do you mean mod changes? I'm not really sure. Yeah, but it's on rewatch, Hermos. Hermos, one thing about it, if you rewatch this, if you rewatch the stream, go forward about 15 minutes from when I started. Because I went a little early and they took 6 minutes to get to the first question even then. So yeah, it takes a while before the perk changes. Yeah, they'll go live. Yeah, all the perk changes. They didn't talk about it, but yeah, all the perk changes, all the weapon changes that have been on the PTS, that'll be part of the update. You would think it's only fishing, but it's not only fishing. It's fishing plus, fishing plus, whatever. So anyway, welcome to all the people. I mean, obviously I couldn't welcome the people as you came into the chat. So welcome to all the people that came in during this. Like they're having the Q&As. Yeah, I mean, I like the Q&A idea. I wish that they were more, I mean, the problem is you do get a lot of non-answer answers to things, you know, because they will only answer. I mean, for the most part, they're just telling you stuff. Like if it hasn't been announced, if it hasn't been, I mean, honestly, like at this, they didn't tell me anything I didn't know just from like the PTS and stuff. So they're not really giving new information. And when people ask, I mean, they asked about, there was a question there at the end about caravans, and they said, look for more information later. So whatever. And then new bosses, new content. Well, we got stuff coming. Well, we all know they have something coming, but yeah. Reworking your builds yet again. Yes, you'll be reworking them again and then again and again, because the next update after this one, so the next PTS will be for the September update, and the plan there is, and they've already talked about, I mean, they haven't talked about, but they've said what they're doing. It will be heavy guns, melee, that includes unarmed, and bows and throwables. They're doing something with throwables, and I'm really curious about that. So yes. Brian, it's just kind of the nature of that job though, right? Where the non-answer answer. I mean, anybody who's in charge in a forum like this, if they have stuff they're not ready to announce yet, and somebody asks about it, they're going to give you the non-answer answer of like, maybe, or it's coming, or whatever. I mean, it's just the nature of the job and the nature of just the way it is. So, I mean, I never go into these expecting them to give us some super secret. I mean, and sometimes they do things. I mean, like in the last one, they did right before the ghoul update right away. The ghoul update, they talked about, oh, we're giving you an extra character slot. And they goofed, and they shouldn't have done that because obviously they weren't ready to do it. And somebody spilled the beans on a few. I mean, I assume that's going to happen at some point, and I expect it'll cost atoms. I don't expect it'll be free. So yeah. Don't have to rely on 3 other people not dying to fish. Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the thing. Fishing, the thing about fishing is, at least, and I did it a bit on the PTS, and I did find it fun. So my background is fishing. I don't fish in real life. I never fish in a video game. I've never been interested in it at all. And when they announced it, I personally wasn't excited like a lot of people. And I tried on the PTS, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was great, especially if you're doing things like events or whatever, because there's usually a lot of downtime. Maybe you're doing quests, maybe you're vendor hopping, whatever, but maybe you're not. And this is a perfect thing to do to fill time, because you can do it. You can spend like a minute doing it. I mean, that's about as minimum amount of time, and you could spend all day. So that's what's nice about it. It is really good filler content, and there are new challenges, and I think it'll give you a reason to explore the map. I mean, John Rush talked about that a little bit early on when he was talking about, or was it John? No, it was the other guy. It was the other guy, not John Rush. I can't remember the other guy's name, but it was talking about, you think you know the map, and then now you're thinking, where's all the places where there's water and unexpected places and whatever. And so I think it'll give you that. Two Little Mice, I did see you come in. Thank you. We need display as a fish tank. A lot of people have said that. I would expect that to come at some point. Let's see. That's why you've been playing your melee builds more than other builds. You're just waiting for the firearm perk changes to go live. Then you'll switch to range. And yeah, exactly. That's your plan for fishing. Use it to kill time. Exactly. Purple Dazed, thank you very much for becoming a member. I appreciate that a lot. Be sure to check out my members only videos. Yeah, hello, Constantine. Yes, I would have. The reason I didn't announce that I was going live when I did my last stream, I didn't announce it. I didn't know about it. I didn't know that they were doing it until like the next day, I think, or Yeah. So anyway, otherwise I would have given you more notice on this that I was doing this. So I did mention it in my Discord. So fully decked out hunting rifle. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next update. Hunting rifle. I love the hunting rifle. I always have. It's getting such a nice buff. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this update. Fishing, I think, will be a nice add-on. What I'm also looking forward to, so the if anyone hasn't seen, in fact, let me look at the calendar. Is this the calendar? Let me pull this up really quick. Let's see, display capture. We can do that again. All right, so here's the calendar. They've only given us, that all should be visible. Yeah. So they've only given us June and July so far as that. And normally the calendar would include the current month, which, I mean, June is, I mean, I'm considering now that June, right? This is like the end of the first season or the current season. And that's usually what you get is the end of the current calendar, which we already had. This was what the last calendar had. And then you would get the next 3 months, which would be July, August, and September. They didn't do that this time. We have August and September coming soon. And I think what's going on is there is a Xbox event. What is it on? I think it's on the 8th. Yeah, it's a Sunday. I think it's the 8th. Yes, it's on the 3rd, Hermos. It's on the 3rd. So the next event is on, or there's an Xbox presentation, something that is on the 8th. And they'll talk about, I think, the Outer Worlds 2. That's a big, or maybe that's after that. But anyway, my guess is they're going to announce something about 76. And I think that's why they're only giving us 2 months, is they have something big they want to tell us. And they're waiting until then. I think that's what's going to happen, but it's just a guess on my part. We'll see. Love playing your Ghoul Commando build, but you hate the disguise system. I do too. The disguise system, no passive glow gain. Those are the big killers for me. Fishing in game won't have the same feeling as fishing in real life unless we're in a hot aluminum rowboat in the middle of summer with no shade. Exactly. Well, but in real life, you won't get attached by a scorch beast, or because I did that happen to, not necessarily what the story he told, but I did some fishing where like you can't fish when you're in power armor. So that's the thing to know. So if you do have a power armor character and you are fishing, because some of the fish could give you like the weather can give you a better chance to catch certain things. So catching stuff in a rad area, like a rad zone or a rad storm. And you can't do that if you're a power armor character. So that's when you pull out the hazmat suit or the whatever, or the Chinese stealth suit sort of thing. I think you only do the seasons on 2 accounts unless the season has items that certain builds on other accounts really want. Yeah, like the cannery. I mean, the cannery you may want, that'll be on this next that'll be on the next season board, right? It was on the season board. I don't remember where it was though. But anyway, I think we're good. This is we're at my lunchtime now. So there's that. All right, so this was good. So I wish they would have answered more questions, but they answered kind of what I expected. I mean, you get a lot of non-answer answers. Curious as to what stuff the new camp follower gives. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure about that either. I saw a list somewhere and I can't remember any of it. So we'll find out soon enough for sure. Duchess Flame. I know she did a thing on that. So if you look at Duchess Flame's site, here, I'll give you a link. If you don't know Duchess Flame, she does good. Let's see here. There we go. She does really good stuff. And I know she put out a thing on the new camp ally, but I don't remember. Yep. New player experience continues on tomorrow. So I think it is something like an energy resist buff. And in terms of like, and they sell stuff too. I think they're a vendor as well. So yes. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. So, I lost the, too many windows open. Oh, okay. Never mind. There we go. I confused myself is what I did. But yes. Yeah. So tomorrow I'll be back with the new player experience, which is getting harder and harder to replicate as we go on. It's kind of hard to know, what a new player would do as we keep going on. But yeah, I'll be there for that. And yeah, I guess we're going to call it here. Thank you everyone for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Like I said, if you tuned in late and you want to rewatch this, go forward like 15 minutes from when it actually starts, because that's really when the first question hits. So just to save you some time. So yeah, everyone have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you tomorrow.